Your favorite Wuthering-Waste character is getting weaker every patch. And before someone comments, I still cleared with my 1.0 character, that's not really the point. The point is that every patch, it feels like Kuro is making older units work harder for the same exact rewards. Now, I have played since launch, and this is actually my first gacha. And for the longest time, I didn't notice this. But I started with Sani. Eventually, I pulled Carlotta because Jennifer English's VA absolutely killed it, and I just found her really fun to play. Back then, I thought my account was doing just fine, but if a stage was difficult, I immediately just assumed that it was just me and how I built my characters, and it just wasn't good enough. Maybe my echoes were bad or my rotation was bad. Maybe I needed investment. So I pulled a whole Cartetia team. Then I pulled Phoebe to complete my Zani. Then I got Phorlova and Cantrella. Then I eventually realized teams weren't just stronger, they were making things dramatically easier. I had to do less retries, less sweating, less optimization of my rotations, and there was this less frustration when I pulled newer and better characters. Now the game was asking for the same reward, but suddenly demanding far less effort from newer characters. And now it's more obvious than ever in the Whimpering-Waste, because we recently had a 20% HP inflation. Now the biggest problem with Whimpering-Waste has never actually been the enemies, it's actually the tokens that make the whole damn thing difficult. Because there used to be ways to make almost every team work. Using the Plunderer's token, you could use healers and slap on Verena, and I used to clear with that for the longest time with my Carlotta. Now the buffs are becoming so specific that they're practically telling you which characters they want you to pull. When I first saw Hiyuki's token, I genuinely had a chuckle because I couldn't believe how shilled it was. I wouldn't be surprised the next time that if somebody said, this token makes it so that Lucy on your team deals 500% damage, and here I have another 20% HP inflation, cause why not? Because it's funny, but it's also becoming increasingly true. A lot of people have noticed the HP inflation this reset. Teams that were comfortably clearing with 4,000 points, 4,500 points are struggling to get 2,500, which is still in the clear zone, which is still good enough. But between one reset, that is insane. People are reporting score drops. They are losing their scores on their Galbrena team, their Phorlova teams, their Carthetia teams, even their Monofusion isn't working. Looks like the sweats are still struggling. But some people are still showing that they can clear, and the amount of effort it requires has definitely increased. They're using signatures of limited characters on non-limited or standard banners. They're showing, clears that just barely happen. Or some people, they'll just show you that they're very much skilled. But at this point, Camellia players are fighting against elemental resistance, and honestly the only thing Camellia has done wrong is be the same element as Phorlova, because they're really trying to nerf Phorlova from what we can tell. Cartetia players are already fighting resistance in the towers, floor 4, because even if it doesn't say error res, it's literally error enemies. And also in Whimpering-Waste. And what I find surprising is that I pulled Phorlova for Whimpering-Waste, and she's been doing worse and worse with the resets. I mean, she could clear very easily for the most part up until now, and right now the score has just dropped. I mean, she will still clear for most of the people who have her, and maybe with the addition of like Lucilia, we're going to maybe get a resurgence in how good Prime Phorlova was. But until then, newer units are just cruising through content, and it's so easy to see. When Ameath's Rupture team came out, we thought it was single target, but she was just clearing Whimpering-Waste, and that's kind of how I felt playing her. I don't even see the need to pull a Fusion Burst, even though I have a Chisa and I could just simply pull a Denya. I'm not going to do that. She already feels strong enough, and the tokens, she's been getting her tokens for the longest times. I think it's been like 3 patches where we have just had Ameath's token, and it's gonna continue because Fusion Burst just released fully, and that's where the issue lies, because every old limited character is starting to feel like a standard character more than premium units, simply because the tokens aren't in their favor or there's resistance. Now before someone says, yes, it's endgame content. Yes, I know, endgame should be difficult. Not every account should just instantly clear as soon as they log in and pull somebody. But that's not the argument. The argument is that the difficulty increasingly feels tied to HP inflation and token rather than actual gameplay. Now, older players don't see Whimpering-Waste as some impossible challenge. They see it as some recurring source of pull currency. If the mode is increasingly balanced around whatever character released most recently, that's only going to frustrate players, especially when reruns are super rare. You can tell players to vertically invest, but let's say someone really enjoyed Camellia and she has had no reruns and the one she was supposed to have has been eaten by Phoebe. But what are people supposed to do when they want to play their Galbrenna, or let's say they want to still play Gian? He hasn't rerun for a year, and looks like with the anniversary they're not going to rerun them anymore. And that is the frustrating part, because it's not that we mind that power creeps exist. Every gacha has it and they're going to need it to keep selling new characters. But what bothers me is that it's happening really quickly, especially with HP inflation at the scale of 20% per reset. Now of course this may not be a general trend, but it's immediately made a lot of characters feel a lot weaker, and if we don't talk about this and just let it slide, then maybe they would be bold enough to do it again. Anyways, I still see a lot of people saying I still clear. I mean, sure. Or posting their Varina DPS showcase where they use Ling Yang as their sub DPS, and that's great, alright? These are fun to watch and they are very entertaining, and the skill that's required to do that, like, people are in awe when you watch something like that. But the casual player is not there trying to prove a point. They just want their limited character who they pulled a signature and a team for to feel better than just be out-competed through HP inflation and token. This isn't Elden Ring. People aren't looking for challenge runs. Hell, it's a gacha, guys. They just want investment to retain value. Isn't that what it really investing into characters so that they retain value? And the funny thing is, eventually this is going to affect everyone. Today it was the 1.x character, 2.x, then it'll be 3.x. Power creep is not going to stop, and it's just going to move on to the next version. Now I think Whimpering-Waste has become one of the clearest examples of Wuthering-Waste's power creep problem, because the difficulty isn't coming from bosses or mechanics. Hell, it's literally wave content. It's literally just coming from HP inflation and whatever token Kuro wants you to use this patch. I found it genuinely shocking when I used one of my Ameath's ult and it didn't even clear a 3-cost echo. Like, can you even fathom that? An Ameath's ult, which is being boosted by Mornier and Linné, cannot kill a bloody deer. The Exostrider's Visa is slamming onto the ground and blasting the world, and this deer just said, alright, I can tank it. Anyways, maybe I'm completely wrong, so do let me know. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have felt HP inflation. Do you think the people are actually overreacting? And especially with Cyberpunk collab coming right around the corner, people are really expecting Lucy to age faster because she's a collab unit, and she may be weaker because they don't want her to be full meta. So how long do you think she's actually going to stay relevant even with the investment they're expecting you to keep up with? Anyways guys, let me know. Bye bye.